Okay, I'm at work for a change, but not for much longer. Here's a go at a 10-minute revision video. I'll try and make a few, and I'll put in some bits and pieces of notes and stuff like that. So bits and pieces of notes and kind of questions with mark schemes and so on into OneNote, and I'll put this video there. So we're gonna have a go. We're gonna have a go first of all at PPFs. So start at the very beginning. It's a very fine place to start. So PPFs obviously are production possibility frontiers. So what is a production possibility frontier? What a production possibility frontier is, it's something that shows the limit to what an economy. So hence, it's not for a firm, it's for the economy as a whole. It's the limit to what an economy can produce with its existing factors of production, so land, labour, capital and so on, at existing factor productivity. So we're saying, given what we've got at the moment, and given their current efficiency, what is the maximum? What's the limit to what our economy can produce? For those of you who know me well, it's equivalent to the glass, in the beer and glass model. So it shows, the capacity of the economy. Or it's equivalent to, the, kind of limit, to, if that's long-run aggregate supply, is equivalent to the limit, to what an economy can produce. Or if you're, of a neoclassical inclination, it's that. So it's showing us, the current maximum capacity of the economy. But it can show more than that, and that's the point. We can do more things with it, than just, showing capacity. But let's look at what a standard production possibility frontier looks like. So generally, you have a choice of what you want to put on the axes. It's entirely up to you. We could say put agriculture down here, and we could put kind of goods, manufactured stuff up there. It doesn't really matter too much. But what we can say is that at any moment in time, there is a current maximum number of goods that you can produce, and there is a current maximum amount of crops that you can produce. So if we put all of our resources into crops, then we get that many. If we put all of our resources into goods, we get that many. And obviously, if we start here, as we put more resources into agriculture, we'll be able to produce fewer goods. So we'll end up with a line that looks something like that. Why it's that shape, we'll come back to a little bit later. So what does that tell us? What it tells us is that, if that's the current absolute limit, a point such as A, you can't have it. We don't have, at the moment, enough factors of production to get all the way to point A. It's currently unobtainable. A point like B, we can have that, and a point like C, we can have that. And what B and C do is they show us different choices. Economy B has chosen to have a large number of goods, say 100 million or something, and a relatively smaller amount of agriculture, maybe only 50 million. Economy C has fewer goods, so it's got, say, 40 million goods, but it's got more agriculture, say 110 million. And you can use this production possibility frontier, therefore, to show the idea of opportunity cost. So if we wanted, suppose we were currently economy B, but we decided we want to eat more, then what we could do is we could say, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put more resources into agriculture. So we put more factors of production into agriculture, but of course, what that means is that we have fewer resources in manufacturing. Therefore, as we move from B to C, the opportunity cost of producing 60 agricultural goods is, in this case, 60 manufactured goods. So going from 50 to 110 agricultures, it costs us, the opportunity cost, is going from 100 to 40 goods. So the opportunity cost, is therefore 60. It's also possible to be at a point such as D. But D is pretty undesirable. D represents a situation where there are unemployed resources. It's a pretty inefficient situation, is D, because we could have more goods without having fewer services. We could, agriculture. Or we could have more agriculture, without having fewer goods. We could expand at zero opportunity cost. And that situation, it's known as being Pareto, P-A-R-E-T-O, it's just, a dead guy, Pareto inefficient. That definition was the idea that we can increase the output of one good at zero opportunity cost. In other words, we can increase the output of one good without decreasing the output of another. Okay, so that's what a production possibility frontier basically shows you. So it shows you this idea that we have a limit, that we've got a desirable point, we've got inefficient points, and points that represent choices. And we can also see that idea of opportunity cost. To make more of one, you have to give up. There is an alternative for gone. So you have to give up some of the other. So obviously one day we would like to get, perhaps to point A. So how could we get there? And the answer is, well, not with our existing resources. So if we look at our shifts in production possibility frontiers, we could get to point A. One, if we had an increase in our total factors of production, or an increase in the quality of those factors of production. And what that would mean is that instead of being able to produce A, agriculture, and G, goods, we could now produce more of both. If we had a bigger population, then we could make both more goods and more agriculture than we could before. So that would be one way in which we could escape our limit. Or secondly, sometimes we get improvements in one sector. So suppose we develop genetically modified crops. Then obviously that won't help us produce any more goods, but it would allow us to have more food. So what would happen in those circumstances is that that's agriculture and that's goods. There's an improvement in the productivity of agriculture. So there's an increase in output per worker or output per hectare of land or something. So it allows us to have more agriculture, but there's, if we don't grow anything, then having genetically modified crops doesn't make any difference. So those are two things that could happen. One other possibility is obviously something bad happens. So if there is, it's possible, for a production possibility frontier to shift inwards. Generally, this is some sort of disaster. So something has happened. It doesn't just mean that we're producing less agriculture. It doesn't just mean that we're producing fewer goods. What it means is that the capacity of the economy has gone down. So usually this is some sort of catastrophe. A volcano erupting, an earthquake, something like that. A recession, by contrast, if there's a reduction in aggregate demand, all a recession does, is it moves us from a situation where, at A, we have full employment, everything, we're on the production possibility frontier, everybody has a job, everything's working, to a situation like B, where we have unemployment. But nobody died. We still have the same number of resources as before, and therefore the production possibility frontier itself stays exactly where it is. And then the last thing, I'm not going to worry too much about shapes, but the last thing we can say is that your choice of position sometimes can have a long-term impact. Suppose that's machines and capital good and technology, and that's kind of consumer goods, like cars and so on. And let's suppose we got two economies. Economy A decides that what it's going to do is produce lots of machines and not many consumer goods. Economy B decides it's going to produce few machines and lots of consumer goods. Then what you're going to see is that in the short run, well, fine, citizens of economy B are very happy. In the long run, though, because there are many machines being produced in economy A, if we look at what happens to the production possibility frontier over time, then what we find is that economy A's production possibility frontier shifts out a long way, whereas economy B's only shifts out a short way because A is investing in more and more capital goods and therefore its production possibilities expand. Okay, one very last thing is why are production possibility frontiers generally drawn as curves? And the answer is because factors of production are not perfectly substitutable. So imagine we had an economy that was only producing goods, and it decided what it wanted to do was to produce agriculture. To start with, it would put across some facts of production. And what it would do is it would put your best growing land up. So what would happen is you'd get lots of agriculture. But then if you needed more, then you'd put over land that was not quite as good. So agriculture would go up, but by not quite as much. We could then put more across, and again, the land isn't as good. So what you end up with is, rather than a straight line, because it's getting harder and harder to increase agricultural goods, the production possibility frontier is now a curve because we're using less and less suitable factors of production. And therefore, what's happening is that the opportunity cost of trying to produce agriculture is getting higher and higher because it's getting harder and harder to do it. Okay, that's I tried to keep it to 10 minutes. It's 11, so sorry about that. Yeah, but I'll try and do one of these as often as possible. Hope that's helpful. If you got any questions, send me a message through Teams.